to save another human life. That's what an infantryman is. An infantryman has to be willing to give their self completely to protect the people on the right or the left, or whoever they're sent. And unfortunately, sometimes it's just about the mission, about getting the mission done. So if I had to, I've already shown that I won't hesitate to do what I had to do to protect another. If I've had to protect my brothers right there in Germany, Arena Park, didn't even hesitate when danger came about, and those people were about that business, and somebody had to show them that we're about that business too. So I stepped forward. And I know those brothers would do the same for me, but I'm not a murderer, and that's the fine line. Like, is somebody a killer or is there a murderer? And I don't mean like you have to have killed to be a killer. Some people, you just know that if somebody came in their house, they blow them away. Or if they were out on the street and there was a circumstance where, like, say somebody's going to kidnap a kid or whatever, that they're going to take that person down if they had to, even if it's not their child or their business. But that's not to say they wouldn't be a murderer. But there's a couple guys that came back from Afghanistan, from Iraq with Michael, and they went like on a killing spree in Colorado Springs, just randomly killing people. I think two of them kind of just were along for the ride, but the main one was, that dude was about the business. Like, if you read what Michael said about him, he says he wish he could have cloned that dude, because he's the guy that you would want in a tight situation. But I mean, he knew he was on some other stuff though too, with that, like, that one group that don't like other people. But obviously it was too much, because he just came back and started murdering people. So him was a killer, but he's also a murderer. And so it's unfortunate that this young man, he was asking for help. He wanted to feel safe. And although he was away from the danger, he still carried all the hurt and the pain. And he was ostracized by the three individuals. And like I said, I wasn't there. All I know is what other people say. And I'm not going to cast aspersions on them either, because I've heard good things. It's not my place to call it. And I'll never say that what happened to them was deserving or anything. What I'm here to say is, I'm dealing with all this stuff with these people, and it's like I keep asking for help, and I keep asking to be made safe, but they just kind of just like blow it off. Like, it feels like when you go these places, unless it has something to do with them, then you're just going to kind of get the loop-de-loo and the runaround. And I'm tenacious. And I kept saying, I went to the trauma center. I've been all kinds of places, trust me. And finally, when somebody did call me back, I said, these people are trying to press me to pop. Oh, and his focal point was like, oh, okay, no. Well, here, he was like, well, what do you mean pop? What they're doing is they're trying to fish. They want to hear you say some things that would allow them to do whatever. But it's like, yo, I done pop, and I'm here. This is it. This is me right here, popping and pressing forward the things that they publicly don't want people to see about how they handle this, and how they handle circumstances like this, and the corruption and the derogatory. Man, you should see some of this stuff. Like, it all started with the whole pesticide thing. I went and started asking questions, and it was just really kind of just appalling to see. We're talking about child cancer and the safety of children, and the health of the people that live here in the valley. And it was just like, it felt like a dog and pony show, and them trying to give you circular logic. And when somebody's blowing smoke up your ass, and their answers are not consistent, and it seems just like a script, because then they send you to somebody else, and then that person gives you the runaround. I asked to speak to my senator, my congressman. Do you know that they also, at least I know one of them, he's a vintner. So it begs the question, is he one of those vintners that puts forward that toxicity here in the valley? And is that maybe why they didn't respond? Is that why they didn't give my son and I an audience? I'll give the deputy ag commissioner, they gave us an audience. The health commissioner or the health director, nope, nothing. Didn't even respond. Had a direct report call and give some generic thing that anybody with Google could have looked. It was inconsistent with, it doesn't make any logical sense, because their premise is like, oh yeah, it was really difficult and hard to get all these results, so that's why we don't do it anymore. But if you go look up the state of California, almost all the other counties do the reporting. So how are they able to achieve it when they have far less money? But it really begs the question, is that because y'all didn't expect that kind of a result and it has a bad optic to the people here, or the people that may come here? Is that what it is? That's more important to keep that on the hush and to give bullshit information? Because I went to the oncology department at UCSF. We went to the National Institute of Health, and what they're saying makes no sense at all. From Alfredo Pedrosa's bullshit response at McPherson Elementary, which is in the Napa Register, to the deputy ag commissioner and the ag commissioner's position. Because when I asked her, well, would you guys be supportive? Like, if I go get toxicology, would y'all be supportive? And other people get toxicology reports and it shows compelling data information, would you guys be supportive of something more comprehensive for the Valley, to test a whole bunch of people here to see what their levels are? Oh yeah, well, it would have to, I didn't ask if it would have to be, of course it would have to be from a solid source, right? But not a source that you guys can finance and control. Because that's always another option they have, is that, oh yeah, we'll pay for it, but they're going to find somebody that will find favorable because they're paying for it. No, we want a neutral, non-biased party to get some quantifiable data for a baseline to see what the toxicology levels for the people here in the Valley are. So that was what I was asking about. And it was like, oh, well, all it is like, oh yeah, it would have to be this. It's like a yes or a no. I mean, it would make sense that, yes, we care about the health of the people here. Yes, this is making people rich, and we're all for it. And it makes the Valley a good place, and it's this wonderful thing. But are we harming fucking children and people that live here as a result? Is that the trade-off? Is that what the expectation is of the ag commissioner and the deputy ag commissioner and all the people that, like, yeah, your kids will probably get sick and whatever, but hey, we're living that life, and that's all that matters. Even, you gotta understand, a lot of wealthy people don't necessarily live here. They have multiple homes, so they come in here and their kids are traveling all over. So their exposure might be somewhere along the lines of the people that just come here and drink and then leave, as opposed to the people that live here or work here. I'm looking at the vineyard right now, and there's people out in the vineyard. They're danger close, and people that live next to where the stuff is sprayed and the wind carries it in drift, which is complicated to isolate drift, because if 90 people are doing it, it's hard to say, well, oh, this one person. That's another weaponization right there of like, whoa, gotta prove where it came from. But that's not the point. It's like, hey, if there's that many people doing it, it's gonna obviously cause some kind of health concern for the people that live here. So why don't they just come forward and say that hey, money means more important, it means more than the health of people's children. And when I went to my doctor to ask for them, I went to Kaiser, and I was going all over the place trying to get a doctor's request or order for toxicology for myself, my son, and my wife. And I kept getting the same answer. Oh, do you have symptoms? Symptomology. What is there symptoms? It's like, that is insanity that people would expect you to wait for symptoms till you're sick to be like, hey, I can't be in this environment, or my child shouldn't be in this environment. Because that stuff, it's not going to hit you from today to tomorrow. It's going to marinate inside your organs in your body, and then later on. So you have to do something about it now. We can't wait 5 or 10 years. It's already been 2018 was when they put forward those rules. What quantifiable changes have they made, and why are they not monitoring the health of the people of the Valley? So that you can measure that change if there's going to be one, and say, hey, this is what it was, this is what we're doing, this is what it is now. So we're seeing an improvement, and we're going to continue that improvement. Matter of fact, we're going to work harder to accelerate that improvement, because what matters at the end of the day is the health of the people. But when you look in the 2022 crop report, look what it says. It says the financial health of the Valley. Go through that book and try to find something about the health of the people. Hit me back.